All right, welcome in. My name's Donpairion, and I'm one of the production coaches over at Amplify Evolves program here in Austin, Texas. We have a really awesome tutorial here for us today. I'm going to give a condensed version, and then this is going to be live for the public. We're going to go over things with our drums, bass line, and vocals in the Evolve program. If you do want to sign up for that, I will also be going through the pianos and the synths and the guitar from our local friend Zach Emery. He's one of the guitarists in bass music here in Austin, Texas. The vocalist on this track I worked with was Anna Madewell. And yeah, I was about to go down into a mix down because I was doing a lot of mix downs of the elements, and I thought would, as I've cleaned up, let's do a quick tutorial. And about a minute in, let's get right into drums. So this is going to be for all levels, and we'll give a couple nuggets for the beginners that are starting in. We'll go straight to the side kick. So side kick, I call it as the sidechain kick. I put a compressor, and I EQ. Let's talk about that real quick. I do not, let's obliterate this myth. I leave that low end through and let that kick, because that's so much energy right there. And instead of being worried about clashing with your bass frequencies in that area, let's go and decide to do it. Use, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say use sidechain compression to account for that overlap in frequency instead of cutting out the entire kick frequency. So I shave off some high ends. Hopefully that obliterated a myth for some people. I like to add a drop kick as well, and when I do that, I don't want it to have too much high end, because that's going to really clash with that clap area, the snare area, even some of the hat area. So just be conscious of that. You have one field here. And a little bit advanced people probably know that. Some beginners, maybe not so much, but this is all the fields that you have, and you're stacking all of these elements all in this space. A tool that I like to use is actually Spectrum, and I think that's right here, or not Spectrum, Span. A Span's a free tool. It helps you track the frequency realm of everything going on. So you can see when the sub range of stuff, and your mid range and some of your high range, and sometimes when you have not enough mid range and too much sub, or maybe not enough sub and too much mid range. And so this really helps you gauge how things are being mixed down. I use it on multiple different channels, and I would also put it on your master down here, which I'll touch on today as well, just a little bit as I get to the mix down. This is going to be an end-to-end process for mixing down. And again, we're going to touch the kick as we've just touched, and some of the EQing. Now we're going to touch the rest of the drums and give some nuggets on there on what to EQ, what to level out, because we're going to do some gain staging here. The gain staging is levels and using utility. You can do it in many different ways. It was a very confusing concept at first, that people would say you have to use utility, you have to level it in certain ways. Honestly, it can get a little confusing. So just when you're EQing things such as your snare, be conscious that it has like a lot of really harsh high end. So you want you don't want that to completely cancel your hats. And so you could cut some of that out, leave some of the body. When I talk about the body, that's that 100 to 200 to 300. I think of that as the body of a lot of things. Sometimes if you cut that out, you're going to thin out your claps, thin out your hats. Basic EQing, you may or may not know this. So, but this is something that I do with mine. Drum loops, I leave a lot of range in them. You'll notice on these drums, I have EQ'd, it compressed and sidechained. Used a compressor, which is in my audio effects, and I've gone to this arrow, external, sidechain kick. I've set it to the kick channel so that every time the kick's ducking or hitting, this will duck slightly. So you'll see this threshold. So if I do this, let's see, hopefully it's not too loud. See, those are snares hidden right there, and those snares are, ducking negative 23 dB to the kick hitting, and then coming back up. And it's only doing it for 10.2 milliseconds. So the longer you do that, the more of it that it will cancel. And this audio file that you put on. So if you put it on here, you turn up that millisecond more down here so that it's canceling more, you're gonna not hear too much. So like if we just did the snare and the kick, let's do that for example. And I wanted to do, I'm getting less of that snare, but then see, I'm getting more of the snare because it's just ducking a little bit at that same frequency that it's hitting. That's one way to do side chaining. Along with, you could use some, I like to just use that. It depends. When it comes to your bass, I like to sidechain with a different tool called an LFO tool, which we can just jump to in one moment. One last thing on the drum group I'd like to call out is Fabfilter Pro MB. If you don't have this, I love putting this in my drum group over it, and it helps things sit in the mix. You go to drums, you go to sit in the mix, and then you start to play around with a couple of these things. I pulled this down, I think, a little bit, or pushed it up a little bit. And this is typically the preset. I think that it comes on, and sometimes I'll shift this stuff around or not, but really useful tool. I'll comment real quick on the levels. I like the snares and claps anywhere from, it just depends. I don't always use snares. I use a lot of claps and hats. Claps are typically at negative 6 dB, and then my hats are going to be at negative 9 dB. That's a very helpful tool. And then negative 8 to 9, sometimes negative 12 on the loops. You just have to ear it out and see what's clashing and what's not. Sometimes you want to accent certain areas like I've done here with this loop and hats. Wow, I did not even EQ this hat. Let's take a quick moment to do that. So that's a big note, that you want to EQ every single channel, because it is imperative to keeping the mix clean. If you don't, it's not going to be like, oh man, princess in the P, and a little P and sticking out, the princess is going to feel it. You're not going to feel it that much, but like it does, it's there, and it could be felt. There's just a little more clarity that could be gained and you wouldn't even realize, but once you hear it and you don't hear it and you fix it, then you are the princess and the P at that point. I swear it's crazy. So that I like to leave a little bit here. I don't need that much body on this hat. That's why, like, let's see how this is hitting. Yeah, that's fine. You see, I'm not even getting those frequencies. I can even, seems the body is like in this area right here of that hat. Some of that shimmer is in that high end, which it's not going to clash with other things because I've added some this other hat, which also is an EQ. Come on now. Maybe I'll give it the same, or even actually a little bit different. This could be a little less in that when you mix this, it's not hitting at the same time. So actually, let's just give it the same kind of EQ. If they were hitting at the same time, maybe I'd want to duck this one to the other one so that you could hear the other one more. Which one do you want to hear more? It's very important. So I think we've hit on drums, levels, -9, claps, -9 if it's an add, -6 if it's your main. Definitely add layers in your claps to add some crunch. I like to use some snaps and some other things, and I'll duck those down quite a bit more. So it's very, very important to add. Well, when you do this and you have a clap and you add that's layering that texture, but then when you do it on every other one, you're adding swing. And I just like to add a little variations in here. And so, yeah, this is a lot of the mixing. I am happy with a lot of this. I'm checking each one of these. I do recommend checking your channels as I've been doing right now. I think I checked this before, but each one has this side chain to the kick, and it has the EQ. Let's move on. If we're dealing with any people that are not beginners, we can jump right into the bass. What I have done here with the bass from a mixing standpoint is I've taken the sub, not on. If we turn this and we see this sub, that's the sub line. I have only turned it on during the drop and turned it off during the other areas, non-drop, like the build or the intro or the middle. And I have also in this wavetable, I did a series on an episode on wavetable, and how to make this bass line, because these guys, actually this guy could be moved up here because these are in relation to each other. I basically have one that's EQ'd a bit high, or I'm EQing the lows out basically, and I'm pushing it on those highs a bit. You see I EQ'd a bit of the highs because when you saturate things like I think I'm doing here, I could probably actually move this to the other side, because whatever you're putting on in the chain, by the way, you are then adding that much amplification, that much more effect, and that is not being EQ'd. Like this EQ, if I were to have the EQ before it, it's not, it's EQ, it's saturating that whatever you're EQing. So putting this in sequential order, putting the EQ after it, it does make a difference. So when you do this, I'm going to say that this one, I think this one is the lower one. What I'm trying to get to a point of is that I'm leaving the low on that one, and I just duplicated it basically and wanted to shave that off. And I think I saturated this one top a little bit more. Now, I was playing around with this. If you know wavetable, I'm just going to give you a quick side note that this amp right here, this is what's going to make it sound plucky, or you're going to let more harmonics through, I guess. Yeah, or you're opening up the envelope of the amp, I mean the shape of the amp, which is what is pushing the energy through. So I did it like this to make it more of a rounded. I found my happy medium. I didn't want it to be a thin pluck, but because that wasn't going to stand out in the mix. If we hear this, let's hear this. This top one in the drop, yeah, and then this one has that a lot of the low and together, and so they're hitting together. If I do that with the kick, and so that sound right there, by the way, is a little bit out there. It's not tech. It's like this mix of this drum and bass type of kick, like bit with the dun dun. Like it's got that, and then the snare, but it has other elements from just house. So this is like this interesting drum work kind of, I'm going to call it a house drum work song. Like it is very interesting. So I had to be very particular with the bass and the kick and what kind of drums, because honestly, mixing these drums have been a bit of a challenge. I wanted to say one last thing before you move out of the drums. Yes, this build. So when I build the builds, I do like to create some variation. You'll see right here, this is the velocity. If you go into here, each one of these has a little velocity difference. I like to use different elements. I like to use the simpler, which if you go to instruments and you go to down here, simpler, I like it a bit different than sampler, but simpler's pretty easy. Drop a sample in here. We got a crisp one shot, and you can see that I add saturated to it, I add the compressor, add the EQ, and I do this about 4, 8, 12 bar build, and I then would add I pretty much EQ them all the same. And actually, I don't like that. I'm going to EQ this one just a little lower, and maybe this one just a little higher, because I think this one's nice. What is this? Nope, actually, let's bring that one down. And because it's like a tennis racket. And this one, I think I like, actually, that one, I'm going to amp there and bring this. Yeah, I was trying to get a good feel for that one in context with this guy, because I added, this one's just a different This one's a high-end one as well, so I would probably see there's checking every single one is very crucial. So I'm going a little long on this with all these minor edits, but you're seeing the practice. Like I do recommend consistently doing this because it gets the muscle memory just really locked in. So, I mean, I know that this is what I need to do to every single one of them. And it's not like I'm not second guessing or like, oh, is that the right number? Is that a right? Like, there's a lot of like, it's like your mom is cooking or like a family recipe. It's just being passed down. You kind of got like, if you documented it, I do 8 bars of sharp like claps and has, or I don't know if you do that. I mean, or no, that was mixing. I want to give it a better example. Oh, I do exactly 60% dry and wet, and on this plugin, on this tool, whatever. I think eyeing it and making sure that it's within a right range and is sounding good to the ear is a very helpful mixing technique. Just make sure that you are kind of building that muscle memory and understanding that you are going to lose it if you don't use it. All right. Perfection is not the objective. That is a big message here. So I want to say that I have one more thing for you. I said that I would do the vocal group. We have 3 minutes left. I said this would be a 5-minute video. Turned out to be a 20-minute video. So let's do the vocal group. What I do with vocals is very simple stuff. Here's the main group. And the main group I like to duplicate out 3 times. I'll add auto pan on one of them. I like to use mode step vocal rack. Mode step, amazing vocal rack, very helpful, very useful. Reverb time delay. I've used auto pan on this one. Did I use it on the top one? I think I have as well, but in different capacities. I think this one's 132. No, they're all the same. They're all the same. So I've duplicated that out, and this is kind of like this chorus that I just want the main to be. I'm trying to EQ out those. I'll even like to boost these just a little bit. And I am EQing, I believe, things like the piano or the synths. I have things in the synths, sidechained to, I believe, the voice, the vocal, like this one right here. I have an EQ'd to the, I need to fix that, EQ it to the sidekick. But I also have it EQ'd to the main vocal right here, the vocal group main. There you go. So I want things to duck to the vocals. Things like my synths, I want those to duck to vocals. Things like my bass line, I want those to duck to vocals. You can see that vocal group right there ducking to it. I want my piano to duck to my vocals. So actually, I will duck these real quick as well. With the vocal, I decided to do, I'll just give a few more things that I did. I'd like to add this Brit channel X64. Very useful. If you can see here, I'll do. Bringing me. So that is very pushed. In context, it sounds a lot better. And so what I'm hearing there is that I need a little bit more push in those vocals. So what I'm going to do right now is probably take this Fabfilter, which I've put more presence and control. I'm actually going to probably add another Fabfilter. And I'm going to go to de-esser, and I'd like to probably either... Yeah, I'm going to do the enhanced de-esser. So there's something, because de-esser is finishing those high ends of anything. De-esser and enhance. So de-esser would be down, enhancing be up. And I think I'm going to do some of this, maybe even compress it just a little more, like to -24, like we've been doing everything else. Hearing right there, I was trying to get to is the mix of the high, like I wanted more high end, but I didn't. I wanted less high end, but I wanted more high end at the same time. So the way I was trying to achieve that is I was trying to shave these guys down. I was trying to push the volume. Then I was trying to shave this down a little bit because I didn't do that yet. And then I'm trying to um, push the reverb. Yeah. So, okay. One more time. One more time. I was going here and I was trying to take the EQ. Actually, I didn't touch the EQ because I wanted the high ends. I was trying to raise the volume. And so when I raised the volume, I was getting more of what I think I wanted. But then I was trying to use this Valhalla reverb, Valhalla room. The reason why I turned down the high cut is because I wasn't trying to cut too much of the high. But I wanted to have depth, and I turned down the pre-delay because it's more of what's like in the chest coming, and then the decay I think is more like in the head feeling like further, and it kind of decays more. So I like to give that reverb that's more up here than down here is what it feels like when that pre-delay hits. So yeah, that's everything I was doing. Try to understand pre-delay and decay and high cut and depth and mix, just in a relative way, where they hit in the body, where they hit in the head, where they hit in the ears, because it matters when you're trying to adjust things to get to a certain level of output with the vocal. So like, let's hear it again. Let's hear it again. So like. Little kids at it don't playground and we're just I want little kids at it don't playground. You see right there, I knew I knew I wanted to take a little bit of that high off with reverb, and it's not cutting it. It's just adding this reverb and pressing it backwards. So it's like, okay, I am turning this into like a 30-minute video, I guess. There's been a lot of different things. I mean, I'm working through this mix right now, and I love doing this because it's very real and action is what I love to do and sit here, and hope this is helping you guys. We are coming to the back end. I wonder if there's anything else I can show you guys with these mix. Maybe I'll go through a few of these plugins. I do like the hybrid reverb and Ableton, really good plugin. All of these I've already queued. Okay, so on this Vocal 2 chain that I was working with Anna on, it was this another round of vocals that we plugged in. I was using things like Bit Channel, like I shared, Sweetvox. It helps. You can really turn up the volume on something. It just also helps things process. So like, for example, let's see something like. You see, I use that Sweetvox because sometimes it gives the DS, which is that taking down the high end, but it also has output, which you don't always want to press that. I'll see how it goes when I go to the final mix, which that final mix, I'd like to jump over to that right now, actually. So let's look at some of this right here. I know we're at the very end. Let's look into this. So we're paying attention to this main channel, and let's zoom all the way over and see where we're pressing 4. So we need to bring that back, right? All right, so we need to bring it down to 0. And you don't have to get exactly at 0. You can achieve some of that with some of your mastering tools. In my personal opinion, things on my mastering chain, you can see I have Ozone Imager, which goes and helps you see these. It helps you grid the frequency span. So 100 frequencies and down helps you, gate these areas and have a 3,000 to 10,000, 10,000 up, and everything from 100 down. Pretty much, this is a imager to your mono, and you definitely want in stereo. It's a stereo imager, and you are taking this and dropping it -72 or negative. I could probably do negative everything, negative all the way, making that area all mono, because that's what's going to be. Mono is what stereo systems at clubs are pushing outwards, and so you want it to register your low end to be registering there. Just a few minutes left. I want to try. See, now it's hitting at 2. It was hitting at 4 before. I definitely was blasting the bass, and it doesn't feel like it, but it definitely was. And so I took it down from, because I had 2 of the basses, right? And I think the low one, the one I was opening up the whole low frequency. I think the other one, the higher one, I cut at 40 dB. So the lower one I had 0. I think you can see here. This one was at 0, but I dropped it down to -6, which brought this entirety better in mix, right? So I'm at time. Just follow that process, and same thing with, you just point them out. It'll show you, like, this one's really high. I need to tap into the main Vox, and it's probably, oh, look at it. It's telling me right there 470. So I need to tap into this area and ensure that it's which is the area we were just touching in the mix, right? We want to maybe bring that down while we're boosting some levels through saturation and through compression. So these things, hopefully this helped you today, guys. This was a walkthrough of mixing your track down, mixing your drums, mixing your bass line, vocals, and all the in-betweens. So hope this was fun for you guys. See you on the next one.